that we can actually track the raw populations. Now, some of these games probably are even more popular than what Steam says because there's additional launchers, but in no other way can we track the true popularity of games other than through Steam. So, free-to-play games and these games as services, population in fact does matter. And even if it didn't matter to the raw gameplay itself, just knowing a game is popular or has been popular for so long or is no longer popular, these different things might show that, well, maybe a game is worth checking out if you never did actually look at it, or maybe jumping back into it. Again, especially as games as a service. So that's why I do this video 4 times a year, and well, welcome to winter. So let's get into it, guys. The top 10 most popular what's being played free-to-play on Steam. Alright guys, the first game we're going to be chomping on is War Thunder. So War Thunder is a game that I honestly I need to re-download this. I need to get back into it. This is a game that has so consistently been on these lists, or very near the top 10 of the most popular games on Steam, that it's really no excuse for me not to give it more attention. I've honestly played way more of World of Tanks and World of Tanks Blitz, and some weird, World of spin-offs, but War Thunder kind of has like all of it. And it's a really nice mix of arcade and simulation. Now, I'm a big fan of some cool, arcade dogfighting games like Strike Vector was super bonkers. Dreadnought was incredibly tactical, the space combat in both of those. But just taking a step back and maybe more down to earth for an aerial, dogfighting game, War Thunder was just really awesome. I never found myself a fan of historical airplanes and such slow-paced gameplay and, such a strategy focus. But after playing World of Tanks, which again, very big parallels with monetization and overall theming of those two titles, I just really loved War Thunder's approach. And the big sexy factor, which is why War Thunder is my pick overall for this style of game, is going to be the fact that it's mixed combat, which is why I love Battlefield versus something like Call of Duty. And that's going to be that you can have airplanes, tanks, and now they even have naval warfare within War Thunder. So consistently adding in new planes, new tanks, and now entirely new ways to play the game, such as naval combat, all mixing together. That's just kind of an awesome fun match for people who are enthusiasts of historical, armored combat. All right, next up, number 9, we have Unturned. And I always describe this game in these lists in the same way, so I'm gonna try to be a little bit different here. Basically, I'm gonna approach it that you know what Unturned is, and you haven't played it because you think it looks like cutesy and just for kids. The thing is a lot of games that you think is just for kids are actually some of those popular games. Well, there's a lot of kids in the world, but they're still genuinely very fun games. So Unturned is one of those titles. Basically, in my opinion, I know Unturned looks the way it looks, very polygonal and very indie, very, low spec. But it, in my opinion, is the better, zombie survival game. I know we've had H1Z1 and there's DayZ, and there was the infamous, the War Z, or they changed the name to Infection Survival Stories, and a couple others, right? And you do have other survival server games out there, like Ark Survival Evolved. Oh my god, amazing. And there's other flavors, sure, but Unturned is the zombie game for me. And it's because it's free to play. It's because you can just jump in, jump out. And there's PvP servers, there's other things you can do with it. It's just a really fun, fair, free game. That's all I can say. And if you do want to spend money in the game, you just pop in just a couple bucks, basically, and you get customization options. But for the most part, Unturned it is what it is. And everyone just really loves that. It doesn't have like a giant expansive arsenal of expansions. It doesn't have like new raid bosses or new vehicles every day. It's just kind of Unturned, right? It's a clean, simple game, which is why IO games are so ridiculously popular, and Unturned kind of embodies that idea. So for a genre that is really supposed to be hardcore, right, like DayZ, they basically made it a lot more simple and easy to get into, while actually still having a lot of very fun mechanics. Like there's still vehicles, helicopters, there's still like a lighting engine that actually works, unlike some other games, H1Z1, Survival Stories, right? So it actually just blew its competitors out of the water. And if you aren't trying it because you think it's a kid's game, then all I can say is you're missing out. And its consistent popularity, despite its more stagnant updates compared to every other game on this list, should prove that it's just genuinely, foundationally, a decent game. All right, number 8 on our list, we got Paladins. Now, Paladins kind of went up and down. It went up and up and up, and it was getting really hype. There was a lot of excite, but, Overwatch League and all the updates for Overwatch, Overwatch is kind of just a really good game. Now, there's always going to be comparisons between Paladins and Overwatch, and I'm just saying that a lot of people would rather play Overwatch than Paladins, but also inverse. The fact that it is free to play, and the fact that it does play a little bit differently, more casually, more sort of party and friendly focused, does actually warrant its popularity here on Steam. So Paladins is a title that, in my opinion, it is an Overwatch clone. If you ever played the pre-alpha and the alpha, you would know it was a different game. It was actually almost more like a first-person Guild Wars 2. Then Overwatch came out, they saw Overwatch, etc., and then it changed. But here's the thing is what I'm saying. Even as a clone, it's actually starting to really differentiate itself. and it's starting to really become its own thing. And it's now, over the years, it started out really clunky and buggy. It still kind of is, but it's getting more and more polished. Now, I'm just a little bit worried about the whole Realm Royale thing. That was a detour. That's probably why it's not as popular as it could be. And Hi-Rez is doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes I'm not going to talk about, like splitting its name into 3 different development studios. That could be good. It could be really bad. But in the end, Paladins is still maintaining, a grip on the top 10 spot here because it's basically the free-to-play Overwatch. That is like the casual, silly Overwatch. You got the customization with the cards. You got the customization inside the game with the items. So there is a little bit of flavor. And also, even though some characters are obviously inspired directly from Overwatch, kind of piecemealed here and there, there's actually a lot of unique stuff going on with Paladins too. That, hey, as me saying Paladins is a clone, I'm telling you that even if you think that, and you're not playing it because of that, I'm telling you, you need to play Paladins because there is some really cool stuff that you just haven't seen in other games. It's kind of thrown together, it is, but I don't know, man, just download it. It's free, just try it. Throw yourself into the game and experiment with it. I mean, it's kind of an experimental game itself, and I think if you just live that sort of lifestyle, if you just live that mentality, you'll have a lot of fun with more games, and especially Paladins. Righteous guys, number 7, World of Tanks Blitz. Now this is weird. So I have not played World of Tanks Blitz on the PC. I actually did a promotional video on the mobile version of World of Tanks Blitz. And I have done some promo videos for World of Tanks and, that whole series, Wargaming. But I can't say that it's always, been my favorite or anything, or that I even really consistently played it. I really liked War Thunder, and I like some other vehicular combat games such as Robocraft. But World of Tanks Blitz is really surprising here because I know World of Tanks is popular, and I know Wargaming is kind of a marketing machine, but why is the mobile version on a PC platform the more popular version here? That's really crazy, and it's over War Thunder. So that is just kind of boggling my mind, and I can only really assume that it embodies the free-to-play, lifestyle, basically. It's World of Tanks Blitz. It's basically just a quick, fast, clean World of Tanks. Again, this was designed for mobile in mind, and I guess it's just translated very well to PC, so I can't really divulge more on that. Maybe I need to try it out myself here, but see, this is what this list is for. It's to look and analyze and see what games might be worth playing, and what could have changed. And I'm saying, well, here, World of Tanks Blitz might be worth playing. So here, for me, that's definitely worthy to see. All right, guys, next up, we have Ring of Elysium, which immediately have to give it a great applause, loud and proud, and a thank you to those who actually played with me over at twitch.tv/Skylent when I was doing my first impressions. You're going to see that gameplay. I had so much fun. My reactions, totally raw and emotive, and honestly, I have to admit, I've been very numb to a lot of battle royales. I don't really get the sense, the fight and flight that I would normally from something like Fortnite. Just a lot of games are very derivative, PUBG, H1Z1, and all those titles. It's hard to see something unique, and it's funny saying that because Ring of Elysium is totally a snow clone of PUBG, but the small, tiny, little, peppered little balance changes that they've made to the game, such as there's no circle, it's actually shaped around the terrain, balance issue. The fact that there's snowmobiles and gliders means it's easier to get to place, and it's less about being caught out in a bad position and more about earning a good position and actually outplaying your opponents instead of getting unlucky and just jumped on. There's just all these little small things that entirely change the game flow and the scope of my entertainment. And, without doing a giant full review here, all I can say is Ring of Elysium is in my top 3 of favorite Battle Royale games. Obviously, it's Fortnite, then it goes Spellbreak, though, and DA, and then Ring of Elysium, which is, it looks so much tried, but I'm telling you right now, it is very true. Now halfway on the list, we have Team Fortress 2. Now this one, not going to elaborate too much on. It's just Team Fortress. All I can say is it's still a great, fantastic, fun game to jump into, to play casually. You got community servers, there's jump maps, there's all the holiday events, which are ridiculous, like there's freaking raid bosses, and there's just like really weird gimmicks that entirely change the gameplay, which you kind of get a taste with Overwatch. Literally, Overwatch is copying Team Fortress 2 with that aspect, but in terms of the competition and the kind of new direction that Team Fortress 2 promoted itself in, I don't quite agree with that, and I think a lot of people didn't either. There's a lot of other games that people are more interested in, that aren't as dated, that are being more upkept. Team Fortress 2 is a great game, always, and forever, honestly. It might always stay in this top 10 list. It's just there's other games that are obviously now competing with it, but still, close to my heart. I love the man versus machine. That's my favorite. That's why I still play it. But yeah, you should definitely check out Team Fortress 2. It's a hoot and a holler. It's silly, even just for a little bit, and I think that's what's really maintaining the game, is the casual, cartoon, silly feel that it's got going on. So yeah, always, Team Fortress 2, one of the most popular games. I don't think it's ever going to fully die. All right, number 4, we got Warframe. Don't need to say much about Warframe. I've already talked a lot about Warframe, but for those who don't play this game, Well, I honestly can't blame you, because I'm pretty sure you know what Warframe is. It is an incredibly grindy, grind-style game. But it is the ideal looter shooter at the moment. Of course, you have Destiny, which is kind of cool if you got it for free, I guess. You can just jump on and shoot some stuff, but not really. I mean, obviously, you got Borderlands. Now, that's a great co-op looter shooter, abso-freaking-lutely. There's some on the horizon. There's some roguelikes that kind of embody looter shooter mechanics. But Warframe is really the atlas of the genre. It's the one that everyone looks to. And every other game out there they're probably thinking, yeah, they're kind of copying from Warframe. Probably. But intrinsically, Warframe is, at its core, a grindy, grind-style game, which keeps a lot of people from playing it further or really jumping into it because it's scary. The truth is yes, it is scary, but it is also so popular, despite that scariness, because once it hooks you, it really digs in. And it is a game that, in terms of, since it is a power fantasy game, which, it's all about grinding, right? Power fantasy, that just goes together. It is the most fantastic and powerful power fantasy that I've ever experienced in a game, period. So whether you like grind or not, all I can say is it's definitely worth putting in a little bit of effort and a little bit of time, more than you normally would for this kind of game, because there might just be a payout. Not for everyone, but you can see from the popularity, quite a lot of people. Number 3, we've got Path of Exile, and what a time to come out with a new update. So they have a new League Betrayal. So this, fantastic. Path of Exile is kind of always has earned itself its spot in the top 10 of popularity because it's just a solid, good game. It's a very addictive genre, and it's a very fair, balanced free-to-play model as well. Runs on most machines. I just think that just all in all, it's a fantastic game. But for its niche of action RPG and a looter-style game that's really more about replaying, and oh my god, that customization is mind-bogglingly intensive. For a game that really should be more hardcore, it's surprising that it's so popular, but at the same time it's not, because it's just that good. And I would argue you can play the game casually. It is still a fun, just a try it one and done experience, but of course it's so popular because they keep updating the new leagues, they keep adding in the new gems, which is the new skills, the new abilities, the literal new builds. There's so much you can do in Path of Exile that, yes, it does require a lot of replaying, but once you actually get into the game, the loop, ooh, you're stuck in that loop, absolutely. I'm actually surprised it's ahead of Warframe, but that's also because of the fact that everyone's kind of mad at Diablo, mad at a lot of competitors. A lot of new action RPG that are coming out are taking too long to come out, and overall Path of Exile is just at a perfect time in the social meta to really shine this new expansion. So if there's ever a time to dip out of some other action RPG that you were playing, or maybe you're bored of Warframe or something like that and you want to play a new looter grinder game, oh my god, Path of Exile is in the perfect prime time to see new players jump in. Alright guys, number 2 is Dota 2. I'm not going to stick around with this one for too long. All I can say is, I personally prefer League of Legends, I actually really like Smite, and I really loved Gigantic. I really love the mechanics-based, the fast-paced, agile-style characters in those titles. But Dota 2 was the first MOBA that I really played, 100 hours in, and I really learned MOBA from Dota. I appreciate it so much, and it's one of the most played games that I've ever had, and definitely my Steam library, it's like number 3 or something like that. So a lot of time and effort have been put into Dota 2, and I'm just really surprised it's so high up here. I mean, I always expected it to be popular, but yeah, it's really cool to see Valve, continuing to innovate with Dota. I want them to go more with a action kind of theme. I want to see more actiony heroes, and I want to see more mechanic-style gameplay, but it's if you want a MOBA that definitely obviously has its RTS roots completely intact, nothing comes close to Dota 2, and for that reason, that's why it is still so ridiculously massively popular, despite the wall of difficulty for a new player. But I'm telling you, as somebody who started MOBAs with Dota 2, it's actually genuinely fun, and it's engrossing, especially play for custom games. You just play to be silly, and just allow yourself to fail, and you're gonna have so much fun, because everyone fails. Everyone sucks at Dota 2. Basically, the art of Dota 2 is the art of trying not to suck as much as the other person. So, just jump in and just have fun sucking is all I can suggest. Alright guys, so number 1, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. If you've been living under a rock, like actually I was for a couple days, I just recently found out this went totally free-to-play. Anyways, so I did my free-to-play list for the year, best free-to-play games, and that list, somebody's like, yo, Counter-Strike Global Offensive went full free-to-play, right? Regardless, you can't expect me to put a game that just went free-to-play on a, list for the year. But what I can do is say that here, even though I normally wouldn't put it on this list and I would just ignore it because, oh, it's a new game that just went free-to-play, of course it has a spike in popularity. No, guys, I know for a fact, Global Offensive, this game's going to be popular for a long time. I know for a fact it has been popular, regardless of being free-to-play. And now that it is free-to-play, this thing's going to be a titan. This thing's just going to be a monster. It's going to be number 1 for years, probably. So yeah, Global Offensive, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. This is a game that I haven't played much. I bought it on my first summer sale, and I just knew it wasn't the game for me. I'm more of a Rainbow Six Siege kind of guy, or I just jump into Overwatch or arena shooters. but I can appreciate this game, I think, now in a new light, that it's free to play, that it has a new Battle Royale mode, and now I know there's different, custom servers, there's like slide maps or jump maps, things like that. Sure, surfing maps, I can do that. I can jump into that, I can play the game casually. I think now that it's free to play and we got a lot more new players, maybe I'll have a better time transitioning. And so that's why I really wanted to kind of focus on that aspect of this. When a game is free to play and it's popular, especially when a game goes from buy to play to free to play, there is something that is different about this particular game. Whether it's a clone or whether, it went from buy to play to free to play, that change, that difference can make a game worth playing. It's meta and it's weird and it's community focused, but that's why games go free to play anyways. For that low barrier to entry, to have more players playing, more players socializing, and of course, that's why almost every game on this list is a very social style game. And that's why I even play these games. That's why I even talk about these games. So yeah, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, a game that is normally, I would say, is not my type of game. Well, I mean, I literally admitted that. I'm now going to jump back into, I'm going to play, and I'm actually proudly celebrating the fact that it is number 1 on this list. So guys, that's the end of the list, top 10. That's it, 10 of them. That's all you get. There's a lot of other games that I am seeing moving up and down these lists, but I just want to say in the end, if you're worried about playing these games, you don't want to waste your time, money, and effort or whatever, all I can say is these games are on this list for a reason, okay? You can attribute it to fads or have you. What I'm telling you is that these games, because of the fad, because they are popular, are probably worth playing. Now, you might see the disconnect there, but hopefully through this list, and from what I've said, you can see that it actually does intertwine, and it actually does mingle in with the gameplay, the game flow. All you gotta do is just, join their Discords, try to engage the community, talk with them, socialize, play these games the way they're meant to be played, and you're gonna have a lot of fun. I truly, truly think so. So that's all I can say, guys. Thanks for watching. Free-to-play games are fun, and, well, obviously fast and free to jump into, so, it's not too much of a commitment. Obviously, no money, just...